Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to echo Chaz's sentiments. We're really thankful that you came out here tonight. We're trying to have this forum so we can have a productive discussion about the Black community in Austin, things that can be done, and some action steps. Not just having a dialogue and conversation, but actually an action plan that will go forward. We have some panelists here today that are representing different views of different individuals here in the city. Whether you've been here for 5 months, 2 years, 10 years, you're part of this community. So we have to all think of ourselves as part of this community, and then we're all together. To go ahead and start things off, we're going to have Tree G perform a song. So Tree. All right, awesome. I'm your host, Brian Fontenot. I'll also be tweeting people in the crowd, so make sure to follow, like I said, the hashtag #SOBA15. What I'm going to do now is have all of the panelists give kind of a 1-minute overview so you kind of know who they are, a little bit about their background. So I'm going to start with Jarius.
Good evening. My name is Jarius Sowles. I'm a student graduating senior at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm an African and African diaspora studies major. A little background about me. I'm from South Dallas, specifically Oak Cliff. I don't know if we have any natives of Dallas in here. Been in Austin for the past 6 years, and I've seen a lot of things that has allowed me to get involved, or made me want to be involved, rather. I've done a lot of activist work internationally in specific areas like Nicaragua and Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, advocating for educational access for minority communities there, and fighting against police brutality in Brazil specifically. I just love Black people. I'm here to share some of my thoughts and insights in terms of how can we fix our particular condition here in Austin, being that I go to a neo-Confederate institution. I deal with particular things that, don't allow me to have a space to talk, right? So, in a lot of ways, Black folks are silent. So I'm here to see, what we can do about that.
Hi, y'all. My name is Paige Turner. I'm a native Austinite of 23 years. I am a graduate student at the University of Texas at Austin Journalism School, and I'm actually currently working on my master's report, which focuses on African Americans in East Austin who have financially benefited from gentrification. I'm also the executive editor of the Austin Socialite, which is a lifestyle, culture, and promotional website, and there's a few of us in here. So if you don't mind coming by after this event and just giving me some of your own insight for our feature story, I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Come this way. I'm gonna stand in front of you. All right. My name is Chris Harvey, and I'm born and raised out of East Austin. Family grew up right down the road, Booker T. Washington Projects, father and mother. So native. I'm also an educator. I received my doctoral degree in education. Studied educational programs here in Austin and Texas, a few states across the U.S., and also recently studying in Europe, particularly in how to transform the system for African American students and Hispanic students, as well as working with a project I call Reconstructing the Communal Village, and it's basically a school transformation project that I did in Maynard, Texas, at an alternative educational campus. I'm glad to be here.
Hello, my name is Gregory Gibson. I've been in Austin for 15 years. I came here from Hawaii. I was born in Japan, raised in Hawaii. Went to school at St. Edward's University, finished my bachelor's and master's degree in global entrepreneurship. I practice activism by serving as the president of the National Black MBA Association here in Austin. One of my main goals is to prevent the brain drain of Blacks leaving Austin. So we focus on business, professional, and social, opportunities within the professional space to try to keep our people here. I also reach out to our younger people by serving as a business professor at Houston Tillotson University, and I focus on entrepreneurship. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. My full-time day job is being the owner of Dashing Foot, which is an online branding company. So, thank you.
Pleasant Grove to be exact, but I grew up at the South Dallas Cultural Center my entire life, and what they did was teach youth not only about their history from the Middle Passage, but beyond that. And they also taught them through different arts like African dance and drumming and how to empower yourself by knowing your history. And I believe that's important. And I'm thankful to be on stage today speaking with you guys.
Hi everybody, my name is Juana. I'm a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin. I got my diploma in Human Development and Family Sciences. I was away for 2 years. I came back this September. I'm a case management aide at Safe Place. It's an agency that works with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence. And since I've been back in Austin, some of the activism that I've done is particularly focused on state-sanctioned violence against Black bodies, with a focus on police brutality and mostly death row. I'm part of the Justice for Rodney Reed campaign. He was set to be executed on March 5th, but they have since stayed his execution date. So one of the reasons why I'm up here is seeing more so about how we can get the Black community mobilized to see how these issues deeply affect us, and not see them as something that's distant that we don't need to worry about because it's an issue of how our human rights are being violated and many other things. So working with the faith communities, I see Pastor Sherwin up there. We can talk to you after this. And just if you'd like to know more about the Rodney Reed case, I have some petitions. I'd love what people think about the situation and how we can get our community mobilized.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Alexis George. I really hate talking about myself, so I'll be really, really brief. So I'm originally from Houston, Texas, so if there's anyone in here from Houston, hi, yay, okay. But my family is originally from Austin. They went to LBJ High School. I've been coming up to Austin pretty much 3 weekends every single month ever since I was a little girl. I currently live in East Austin with my grandmother. If anybody knows the Andersons or the McConaughey's, I come from that family. Older people would probably know who they are. I went to the University of Texas at Austin, and I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I left and went to Philadelphia and got my master's in higher education, and immediately came back here, and I currently work as an associate academic advisor in the School of Social Work at UT. So if there are any social work students in here, there probably aren't. They should be here. It really upsets me. But that's pretty much all I'll say, because I want to continue going on down the panel, and it's really not about me, so yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. My name is Charlotte Pierre, and I am just a philanthropist, I guess. I am a co-founder and vice president of the Austin Socialite, and I work really closely related with a lot of these panelists that you see here before you, just bridging the gap in Austin and exposing us in a more positive light. That's pretty much it. I'm not a narcissist.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Sherwin Patton, and first of all, I just want to thank Chaz for even inviting me up here to even have this opportunity to talk with my brothers and sisters. I think this is one of the most important things that we can do. I used to be the missions pastor at a church here in Austin called Greater Mount Zion Church, and just recently, just in the past year, I resigned from that position because I really felt a call to come to the community and be the church and actually take part in what is really plaguing our community. And so, you know, and that's not saying that I still am not a part of a church. It's just I would rather be out here and work alongside my brothers and sisters and do what we need to do in order to make transformation happen. So my wife and I started an organization called Life Anew Restorative Justice. And restorative justice is, I'll give you the definition when I'm sitting up here and we talk on the panel, but basically what it is giving equity to the community and allowing us to take part in the healing that has to take place and then also being able to give the power that we need back to the community, because we don't need to be empowered. There's power already here, and we need to utilize that power in a way that's going to be transformative, and we don't need to wait for it to happen. We can make it happen.
Hello, hey everybody doing today? My name is Michael Lee. I'm an entertainer. I'm also from the East Side as well, from the projects right up the street, Booker T Projects, born and raised on every crack and crevice in the city. And I'm with a company called Organized Wealth, and we basically have management from Nick Cannon, California and stuff. I come from the situations and circumstances that we face today, as far as the real voice of going through, the one-parent homes and, with the penal system and everything like that. And so, just somebody that actually know and really stood on that side of the fence. I just feel like I bring the dynamic of, the youth will listen to somebody that has faced the adversity that they face. So, I want to bring that to the table, as well as I'm starting a organization called the Let Us Dream Foundation, and we're going to be going back into the community dealing with the youth and providing them with different outlets, is dealing with strong influential individuals such as the people that are here in the room, stuff like that. And we're just trying to give back and shed light on situations that would have no other outlets of being seen if we wasn't at the table. So that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell.
Chaz Moore. People call me a community organizer, leader, activist. I'm just a black man that cares about black people. I'm also, I guess, the co-founder of this event, because I could not have done this without the Austin Socialites, so I just want to thank them so much for everything they've done.
My name's Richard Franklin. I'm the angriest black man on the planet. I have been angry for 58 years. I am a survivor of throat cancer, stage 3. Which gave me a new sense of urgency about my life. I moved here 15 years ago to start a place called the Wing Zone. Just closed up a couple of years ago on 24th and San Gabriel. I've owned 3 nightclubs and 2 restaurants in my life. I'm a former air traffic controller, a former train dispatcher. I served this country for 10 years in the military. I am now the president of Youth Unlimited, a motivational program for young people that connects their education to their success in spite of everything that's happened to them in the educational system. And I'm also the convener for the Gray Panthers right now. So I've been active for a long time. I laid on the street back in the 60s. I marched in the 60s. I've been angry since the 60s. I've been angry since I was aware that I could be angry about something that was wrong. And until we get this right, I'm going to be angry. So I'm hoping that we can walk out of the night with some answers and I can channel this anger into something that's positive.
Thank you to all of our panelists for having the courage to talk about your experiences and be able to kind of tell your thoughts on some of the questions and things that we're going to ask for tonight. I just want to remind you that none of these are personal shots at people. We want to have a productive dialogue and really make some kind of change in actions in everything that we do. It's more than just having the conversation. It's about understanding the steps that we need to make once we leave this room to really make an impact in our community. So make sure to follow us on Twitter with the hashtag #SOBA15. The questions that will be said there, I will say some of those. We won't be able to get through some of these questions, but I'm gonna try to make sure to give everybody time to say their own thoughts for the people in the crowd. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with our first question, and feel free for any panelists to decide to answer this question. The first question was, what is the first step towards Black economic power in Austin?
I think the first step is owning it, deciding what your future is going to be. It doesn't have to be something that's dictated to you. You can have courage and take it into your own hands. A lot of times I hear people say that it's unequal because such and such did, or such and such said, or such and such was. And then I hear everybody on this panel, and I can look out into this audience and see people that I know that have taken it a step further. They've empowered themselves with their own businesses or going after their own education and deciding, I'm not just going to stop here, I'm going to take it here. Ownership of this entire dynamic leads to ownership of this community. And until we're all willing to take ownership of that, we'll still be bickering back and forth about what it is that we have and what we don't have and what we can have.
I spoke a moment ago about the church that I used to work for, and that I'm still closely still have a lot of deep relationships there. And one of the things that the pastor of that church did was he came up with 8 great causes, and one of them was economic empowerment. And I believe that the church has to take responsibility for making sure that the community uses the power that's available, and it's the only organization in the entire community that mobilizes a group of people every Sunday. And we have to utilize that voice, the unified voice that we have, to begin to point out or identify the business owners, and we have to start spending money within the community. We have to start using wisdom and know when to save money. We spend more money than what we need to on things that we don't even need. And I think we have to start talking about that, and the conversation has to start somewhere.
To answer that question, it's going to be very general for me to answer that, but I believe the first thing and the most important thing is to believe in your faith, whatever that may be. For me, it is God. Money is green, but it's not black, it's not white, it's just money, it's a thing. And I think that you have to establish a better relationship with your faith in order for you to create a better destiny. And the word destiny, it sounds like it comes with an end, but it's a journey. And if you can create your own path, because everyone was here to do whatever your gift is, you have to share that light with the rest of the world. And you can try, everything is in a book. You can understand finances through a book. You can understand finances through having a conversation. You can go to a bank. It's all about educating yourself and being strong enough to do that. So I think that's the first step to having black economic power, in my opinion.
Okay, so there is a lot of different organizations that stood up and they spoke about what they do. I think one of the issues that is happening is that there are a lot of different black organizations that are doing something that a lot of people do not know about. And also, the purpose is a lot of people say, oh, this is what we do, and someone else feels like, oh, they don't do this, so I can do this. Well, there's a lot of assets and talents and skills that each business can offer to another business. So instead of going to hire a whole nother person for this position, you can utilize different businesses beyond just what they can offer you financially. Using those skills and offering them to the community. And then also whatever you need can also be provided to you from those very businesses that are around. It's about, community. Not everything isn't about getting a volunteer to do your dirty work. It's about, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it together. If I need something, the first thing you should be thinking about is what other black organization is out there that can provide this or help me get this. And then what also can I do to benefit that business? If I can't give them money, there's something that I can do or a skill or talent that I have that I can offer in exchange. And that's also how you get to know more people in the black community, by getting out there and doing something. If you know that so-and-so has a yoga business and they're an African-American yoga instructor, don't ask her for, oh, can I get in free because I'm black, or can I have a discount because I'm a college student, I don't really have money. No, how about maybe I can do promotions so more people can know about you, and maybe that's how our exchange is happening. What can I do? And let that be the exchange, because we can all do something around here.
I don't know if people has $1.1 trillion in buying power. 2 cents on every dollar goes to a black business. Just think about that for a second.
I'm gonna keep mine short and simple. I think it's about awareness, because a lot of the people that I come across, it's like, you know, they don't have the foresight to see things through and to have the business plans to really put these things in action. Because, you know, as black people, and I'm going to say this as polite as possible, a lot of our ancestors and things that we don't come from money, you know, so a lot of the things that it takes to create and establish big businesses and thriving businesses in this city, because there's a lot of things going on here. Black people have, like, and this is no poor me or pity, it's just you have to start from a different standpoint, and a lot of black people don't want to support each other. You know what I mean? And like that's as deep as it goes. Like black people, it's not versus me against you. If I put a business next to your business, it's not that serious. You know, black people have to quit looking at each other as the enemy and be willing to work together. You know what I mean? Because it's enough of us in the community to work together and create thriving businesses. You feel what I'm saying? But they need, like, people that I run across, the youth and the struggle, you know, as far as the ghetto is concerned and stuff like that. I deal with these people on a daily, and they have no idea about how to start business plans and stuff. So I just think the small things that it's people that want to try, but we need to start having like little classes, at least so people can manage their bank accounts, you know, simple things. People don't know how to do that. They don't know how to read books and things like that. So, you know, as bank books, not real books.
So we talked about the community, we talked about network, starting business, financial classes. If we had to prioritize, and this comes to the next question, the 3 priorities in the black community, what would you place as your top 3 of importance that we need to do?
Right. I want to key on the last one, because I passed out a paper earlier called Radical Thinking. And at some point in time, we got to have a plan that actually makes sense. And basically, economics comes down to numbers. Based upon the amount of people we have in the room right now, and if you look at what I talked about before, if we were just to come together and put a little bit of money into a pot every week and invest in each other, we could start our own small businesses. If you got something you want to do, you got something you want to do, you got something to do, but you got no capital, it's very difficult to get a business started. But if we invest in each other and take ownership of that business, then we become part owners in that business. We become the marketing base for that business. That's first. Secondly, I passed a paper that says we got churches in this town right now who have massive amounts of capital every week that they transfer from black hands to white hands every Monday morning. It's the biggest transfer of wealth in this city every week. So if you got 100 churches that will just set their egos aside and their tithes and offerings aside for a week or 2 or maybe even a month, and pool that money, and a bunch of y'all go to church. So you could go to your pastor and say, Pastor, could we do this one plan and see if we could actually empower our people to loan ourselves our own money? Because right now I go to the bank and I ain't got no money, and I can't get no money from the people there because I need more faith than credit. That's one of the issues we're not talking about. And we're getting redlined and have continually been redlined. And it takes $5 million to start a bank, and you can loan yourselves your own money. That would be another issue altogether we can start out. So then you'll be able to go to that bank that you own, that you started with your money, with your tithes and offerings, and do something with it. Thirdly, we need to start talking about land ownership so we can start our own city, own something ourselves. Because if we continue to go to someone else and ask them to give us a handout, there's going to be an issue. Because no one's going to give up anything for free. And that's what we're talking about right now. So at some point in time, we got to start talking about ownership of things that really matter. And land is the only thing that cannot be recreated.
Can you repeat the question? The last one.
What is in your opinion, the top 3 priorities? Like, for instance, Richard said, one was entrepreneurship, second was starting a bank, third would be acquiring land and assets. But what are your top 3 priorities that you think the African Americans need to do in the community in order to empower themselves?
Well, I mean, I agree with Richard and a few other panelists. I do think number 1 is doing for self. Like, we have to start, leaping out on faith. Because, as a people, we are a very faithful people. Like, we are religious people. So step out on faith like every other race of people are doing. Start your own businesses. Like, they got startups every day, especially in Austin. This is startup capital, like, where people are actually starting their own businesses. So, like, why can't we? Like, we built this whole world, if you want to get technical. So why can't we, like, just start our own business and stuff? So I do think that is number 1. Number 2, here in Austin, although we're 7, 6, 8%, somewhere in that range, we have to start showing up more. Like, our presence is just like, it's terrible. At the Human Rights Commission meetings, all these programs that UT students do and all these things, these spaces that we create, we're not showing up. And then we sit here and complain, well, nothing's going on. Like, we have to start showing up. Like, how many people have ate at Victory Grill in the last month? Exactly. So, like, we have black businesses, but we're not supporting them. So it's just like all you have to do sometimes is just show up. Like, I'm glad y'all here tonight because I really thought there's gonna be like 50 people. Like, so I'm like, this is a huge start. Just show up in Austin. That's all we have to do. Like, y'all cannot even imagine if we showed up with 10 to 20 people at the next city council meeting. Because normally when I go, it's me and this guy, right? So like, we have to do more because this is not the time for monolithic leaders. Like, it's not gonna be me. I don't wanna be a martyr. Like, we all leaders, we gonna ride and die together. Like, that's my motto. Number 3, in Austin, what I noticed, and this is just my opinion, like I've only been here 9, going on 10 years. We gotta start being happy when we see other black people. Like, sometimes when I see black people in Austin, like, you know, like a lot of people think Austin is a place where black people don't like each other. Like, we have to start breaking that thinking. Like, when you start seeing a black person wherever, at work, on 6th Street, do the head nod. We don't know what the head nod is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to start really building community. Like, we already don't have a physical community in Austin, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. We have to go way to Pflugerville to find that. So what we can have is at least a sense of it. So when I see you, what's up, my brother? Like, what's like, hey, sister, like, what's like? I think that's one huge thing that we just need to start doing. Just reaching out, connecting with people. You know, it takes a village, and I think the way to start that is a simple hi, or the head nod.
I can actually speak a little bit more toward what you were just saying. Is it Chaz? What Chaz was saying. After doing a lot of research, I found that the biggest problem, and I would honestly make this priority number 1, is we have an incredible issue with black people staying here. A lot of people my age, I'm 23, a lot of people my age will come to Austin for school or for some sort of business that they have gotten a job at, and they automatically say there's no black people here. This isn't like Dallas, this isn't like Houston, this isn't like Atlanta. And then they automatically become discouraged with all the things Austin as a city has to offer, and they leave. Dr. Eric Tang at the University of Texas, he's an associate professor in the African American and African Diaspora Studies Department, actually released a brief this past summer where he focused on the out-migration of African Americans in Austin. And although gentrification is a huge part of that, and I really do I'm gonna be the gentrification advocate here, I really want all of us to walk away with a stronger understanding of what kind of a crucial issue that is for African Americans, myself included. I was born and raised here, and I specifically remember when you could see Ebenezer Baptist Church, my home church, from the highway. I can't see that anymore. And that like breaks my heart. Like, it genuinely makes me really upset. And I think the main issue that we really all need to tackle is to find a love of Austin and to find a love of other black Austinites and to stay here. We can't accomplish anything unless we're actually physically in the city. And that's my only top priority, really, because it all starts with us being a collective. So that's all I have to say.
Multiple prongs to the equation. So for me, I focus on business. I'm a business consultant, and I've been proud to be able to say that since my business started 2 years ago, 100% of my clientele has been minority. Doesn't mean I won't take on other business, but I know the community that supports me and I support them. But one of the things that our businesses have to do is master their craft. I think a lot of times black businesses here in Austin and around the country probably feel like they should be supported just because they are black businesses. When the fact of the matter is, if you don't meet the needs of your people, whether they're black, white, or other, your business is going to fail. At some point, people will get tired of just frequenting you because you're a black business. That's not good enough anymore, and there's not enough of us here in Austin to make that a real thing. The second part of that is embracing our community. I moved out here when I was 20 years old. I had $14 in a suitcase, and I was in love. And then that changed about a year later, and then I was just out here, you know. And one of the things that I came to find out was that anything that I ever wanted to do, and maybe my perspective was different coming from an island, but these are the same streets that my dad used to play gigs on 40 years ago. And everything that I ever wanted to do, or anybody that I ever wanted to see, and I checked off Eminem a couple years ago, was here in Austin. And I hear people complain constantly about what it is that we can't do and what it is that's not here for us, as if there's supposed to be a for black people only label on the things that we could enjoy. There's a variety of different things that Austin offers everyone, and there's a reason why 120 plus people show up here every day. Yet Dr. Ting's study showed that one person of black descent leaves here every day and has done so over the past 10 years. The final thing, I don't even know if there's a final thing. I know you said 3, but there's a bunch of things that we can do. I guess I'll stop here. When it comes to supporting your businesses and supporting the people in your community, be in your community. I hear people speak about the fact that church is look, people only go to the east side or go to the hood whenever they're getting their hair done or they're going to church, and then they walk right back out. And they don't take ownership of this community. It doesn't have to be a community that you see a burnt down house and then a $500,000 house right next to it. You can build that $500,000 house yourself. And then you can't go complain later about how you're being pushed to Pflugerville or you're being pushed to Cedar Park. You're making a choice. Come up with the taxes that it takes to keep that house in your family for the 3rd generation. Don't sell it off undervalued because somebody handed you a check and you hadn't seen that one that big before. Find out why they're offering you that check.
So we talked about a lot of things. We know the population of African Americans somewhere exists between 6 to 8%. And we've talked about different things we need to do in the community, like LGBT or Hispanics, or even the partners that are white. What are your thoughts about different partnerships that African Americans have with other communities? I'm gonna let Alexis start.
I didn't really have enough time to prepare for this question. But one thing that I would like to say is it kind of goes off of the last question that we had to, in terms of something that's really important that I feel that we as Black individuals need to do. I think that's visibility. And it's not just in our own communities. I understand that a lot of people are probably not going to agree with that, because a lot of people probably are very separatist. I want to stick with my own community. I want to be here. I want to help my own. I want to uplift my own. I completely understand that. But to me, we're too small of a population, I think, to completely stick within ourselves. And this city, there's so many different opportunities and things like that. And I think this man in front of me, he had mentioned something about, like, what is it, the Black label for Blacks only type of something. I think something that really bothers me is the fact that many people think that Black individuals in Austin are this one large conglomerate and we're all the same. And that's not the case at all. And we need to actually be building these partnerships with other communities, to be honest with you, because we need allies. Like, you can't do it all by yourself. I personally don't think that you can. I think it's important that you actually go out and you share your experiences with other communities. You take part in their activities as well, so that way you can actually learn from each other, embrace each other's struggles, so you can uplift each other. I do think it is really important for you to be constantly thinking about your own community and your own community uplift, but you need those partnerships, because a lot of times when you actually have conversations with people, that's when you actually learn the most from them. And that's how you can get them to actually support your causes as well. And I don't see, what's the problem with that? I'm sorry, this is, okay. So I'm a really candid person. Oh, I'm okay though, I'm totally fine. So I'll tell you something that really, really, really pissed me off the other day. I asked for a group of my Black girlfriends to go downtown with me to 4th Street because I wanted to go to Rain, because I absolutely love Rain. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Rain, it's a club. And 4th Street is a primarily LGBTQ area. And my girlfriends were like, oh my God, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to go over there? Oh my God. They were just freaked out about it, basically, because they didn't identify with the community. They didn't understand why I would even want to infiltrate that type of area. And I was like, I mean, I didn't understand. I didn't think that I was supposed to primarily stick to Black-only clubs or to stick with Black people only, et cetera, et cetera. I can't begin to tell you how many LGBTQ friends that I have who completely understand the struggle, whether they be African American, Black, Hispanic, or not. They understand, and they're actually willing to have conversations with me about their struggles versus our struggles, how we can help each other, how we can uplift each other. And based upon a whole bunch of stuff that's actually been going on in the news, pop culture that y'all have been hearing so far, there is such thing called intersectionality, which I think a lot of people tend to forget about. A lot of us are not just Black, we also belong to other communities as well, and that's something that we really need to focus on, so that way you're not just sticking with one Black community and you think that everybody is all the same in that community. No, because believe it or not, they probably are involved with other communities as well, and might even identify with those even a bit more.
I had a conversation with my wife this morning with respect to the activist community and the fact that we have these divisions within activism with each and every group that has their own issues that they have to face. And I've had an argument with a friend of mine who is about the black issue and the black issue only. And I said, well, you know, I hear you jacking up the gay community because their issue is not your issue and they glom on to what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. But I had to understand what he was saying. And his problem at the time was it appears that everyone else's issue steps in front of the African American issue. And I have a different tact on all of it. The reality is activists continue to see their thing myopically in most cases. Every once in a while we'll bring somebody else in our conversation, but the reality is your issue becomes your issue, and it is the most important issue because it is your issue. And I understand if a woman has an issue, I understand. I can't imagine what it feels like to be raped. I don't want to have that conversation, hopefully, as a man. I don't ever want to think about that, but I can imagine when a woman says that to me, I can't imagine what that feels like. I can't imagine what it feels like to be gay. Someone said, well, that's a choice. I said, are you crazy? Do you think people choose to be gay and treated the way they're treated in our society? Yeah. Does that make sense? So I have to understand that situation, but from an African American standpoint, from the laws, rules, regulations, policies, and practices and procedures that have been put on black people in this country from the very beginning, the only person I can think of even get in the same boat with me would be a Native American. So at some point in time, we got to realize if we're going to lift in this country, you lift from the bottom, and that's why I fight the way I fight. Yes, I don't have a problem bringing you along with me in my fight, and I will help you any way, shape, or form I can, but I understand at the end of the day, I know that I'm on the bottom of every list of everything. And at some point in time, we have to realize that's what's going on. And I'm hearing conversations right now that says all we got to do is do the right thing. And I hear us saying, you know, but brother, you got to do better so I can support you. But we give other people second, third, fourth, 100 chances to mess us over.
Yes, sir.
And we don't go back to us, but we'll go back to them all day long.
Yes, sir.
So I'm troubled by even that conversation, as if I can't continue to improve, as if you won't come back to me and say, brother, I was here with you yesterday, and this didn't go right for me. Yeah. So I'm going to give you another shot at it because I want to make sure you get right by me, and I'm going to make sure I get right by you.
That's right.
See, that's one of the conversations we don't have because, by the way, we started out with less, by the way, so I'm trying to lift myself up. Can you help me by telling me what I didn't get right?
Yes, sir.
As opposed to walking out the back door and never coming back and then telling somebody else how messed up I am.
Right.
See, what we don't talk about is how right we are.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to start doing, is doing the uplift piece first before we start denigrating who we are and what we are not and what we are. And I'm troubled by some of the conversations I'm hearing right here. I'm gonna straight up let you know. I'm over biting my tongue because I hear things like, well, we just gotta do the right thing. Well, we've been trying to do the right thing, but we've been redlined. You've been kept away from. There are fights happening but before you even walk in the door that happened before you got there that kept you from getting where you want to go. That's been the history of Austin. It's in the paper today. You have a legacy, a history, a heritage of inequity, inequality that happens, that carries around with you before you walk in, that you have to overcome. And that's what we don't talk about. So we go back and say, well, I did well. Well, guess what? You did well while the rest of them were getting dogged out. And the fact that you had an opportunity, that you did a little bit that got you ahead, or you were the one that slipped through, doesn't mean the brothers who weren't working just as hard as you didn't get shot down. Because for the one that got through, 20 didn't. And at some point in time, the brothers who are doing well need to start realizing there's a bunch of brothers who are not. The educational process is keeping them right where they are. The financial piece is keeping them right where they are. And at some point in time, we got to realize our fight. When we bring somebody else in and says, I understand we're going to drive this bus to a destination, I need you to give me the keys so I can tell you where we need to go. And when it's your time to go to where your destination is, I'll give you the keys back.
I will say this. I'm all about working with whoever wants to progress, but when you look at the amount of people that was down at the Capitol for women's rights and an abortion thing, which was a good fight, and then you look at the people that came out when Larry Jackson Jr. was shot in the back of the neck by that cop, it's a completely different thing. So I think a lot of times people want us to come out, and when I say us, I mean black people, I mean people of color. They want us to use our bodies, but when we need them, like where are they, right? But I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I want to say something.
In a second. A lady is speaking. A lady is speaking. In a second.
Let brother speak. Okay.
In a second. First of all, I just want to thank you, Mr. Harvey, for shedding some light in this audience right now and sharing your wisdom as a very, very handsome and older gentleman, and I do mean that with the most respect. Brian, could you please repeat the question before I share what I need to say? Thanks.
And just to make sure that everybody's clear, the question is, what are the top 3 things for Hispanic community or other communities that kind of exist for us to kind of partner with another community, not just African Americans?
So there is plenty of partnerships. There are Chamber of Commerce, closely one of our mentors as the Austin Socialite. We work closely with President Natalie Cofield to help bridge the gap in our community. Her office is 2 doors down from here. We have the National African American Colored of People. We have that. We have the Latinos that have their own chamber. There's plenty of partnerships, but those are still segregated, and that's the problem. Just to kind of piggyback on what Alexis just said is that we need to desegregate ourselves. There are 3 different ways to do that as individuals ourselves. I feel like our community is lacking mentorship. There are so many young Black African American males that have graduated from college. That is the largest and the highest percentage in our nation right now. They're actually beating the odds. And speaking of beating the odds, I feel like we all need to educate ourselves to beat the system because we keep falling and lacking into the system. Our country believes that we depend on the government for everything. We're not a part of the government. We're not electing our officials to be a part of changing our community. We don't even have people that believe in voting. We don't have people that are educated enough to understand how much power that affects the younger generation. And I think that we need to step outside of ourselves, step outside of the color issue, because we are all free. We need to break away from the slavery mentality. There's so many ways to partner. You can partner up with anyone. You can become business owners and co-business owners with a white man or an Asian man, someone that has substance, someone that has education just like you and I. But we have to break away from being so segregated. I think that is our biggest issue as a culture. And that's why we keep spinning in circles doing the same thing we were doing in the 1950s. And we're seeing some of the same things happening that happened in the 1950s. If you don't want to educate yourself, there's no reason for you to keep complaining about it. I think that that's counterproductive. I feel like there's so many other things that need to be fixed, like 2 or 3-year-olds that are trying to walk and they're seeing things on the television, like a man being shot in the middle of the street and he's getting ready to go to college. I mean, these are the times that we are living in, and we have to acknowledge that and act. What is your passion? What is your talent? What is your duty? What is your civic duty to the community? We can't keep circling around the problems. Otherwise, we're always going to end up on the news in a negative way. And as far as being an activist, that is important, but that's a lot of talking. Where is your plan of action? Where is your blueprint, so to speak? We need to start coming together as a community, because community that doesn't even have the word Black in it. It does not have it. And quite frankly, if you are here just for the empowerism of sharing why you are an activist for certain reasons, then you're really not an activist, because we have so many ancestors that fought for us to get to where we are right now. So many. And I'm just going to leave it right there.
So we've heard different terms used. We've used Black, we've used African American. If African Americans are technically Africans that became Americanized, does it really even matter if we call ourselves African American? If so, why, or why not?
Good evening, everyone. Jarius again. I think histories are important. I don't think we can have a conversation about anything, especially this particular question, without understanding our histories that, most of us in this room derive in our native of an African continent, and where, the terminology, well, not terminology, where the word African American comes from is more over in my head, as I was taught, a political, term given to a particular group of folk post-Reconstruction as to identify themselves, within a particular nation state. And so let's talk about that word in and of its essence, African American, and the African piece, into where we have those who are native of Africa who can specifically say, where they're from, Nigeria, or what have you, and they come here, and there's this division that we have in our own community in terms of trying to decipher that, right? I think that's a problem in and of itself. But I think the particular focus should be, headed towards this understanding of black. What does black mean, right? But black is what everybody doesn't want to be, so to speak, right? There are African Americans in this room who would say that they're African American before they're black, right? And so then we're getting into colorism, we're getting into a lot of different things. But I think the term in and of itself does not matter, right? As it, like I said before, it's more of a political thing, right? So if you're filling out surveys, many of us in this room, if you're from Texas, you've taken the tax, or I think, before that, I don't know if it was a toss or something like that. And they have this bubble where you fill it in, okay, I'm African American, all that kind of stuff, right? These are things that the United States, right, or whiteness used to categorize particular ethnic groups or individuals to keep you separate, to keep solidarity, not uniform. And so when we socialize ourselves like that, if we socialize ourselves as African American, we detach ourselves from a synonymous struggle that other particular folk of our same background or ethnic group, experiences the same. So I think when we're moving forward, right, you had the Black Power movement, not the African American Power movement, because the Black Power movement was an emulation of a movement that was going on in third world countries in Southeast Asia. You had the Chicano movement, which was emulation of the Black Power movement, and it's sort of delving back over into the last question. I really had some things to say about that as well. I do apologize from deriving from this question in particular, but it's all important, right? So blackness is important, solidarity is important, is these things, right? Not using particular terminologies as to identify ourselves, to really, differentiate ourselves. That I'm a student at the University of Texas at Austin, and I think in a lot of ways, the University of Texas at Austin student body is a really accurate emulation of what the community of Austin looks like. In terms of its demographics, you have African American students, you have African students, you have Latino students in particular, either from Mexico, from Honduras, from a lot of other places, and then you have the large white body, and you have the Asian American body. In a lot of ways, we have things such as the MEC, the Multicultural Engagement Center, we have DDC, the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement, all these other quote-unquote organizations for solidarity, yet we're segregated. But in a lot of ways, these are pacifications for us to keep us, not wanting more, so to speak, that if we whine or we cry about something that's going on, all we have to do is say, give us this, make us come together more, and then they, UT hands us something and something like that, and then we're okay, right? Until we start barking up the tree again. But then we see in a lot of ways that the community is divided, that I can't tell you, how well the black community in and of itself is associated with other communities, because I think what larger part is this, is that with African American, we need to demystify what these things are, what these things mean, how we're taught, these things in our primary education.
Yes. Brian, could you repeat the question again?
Just to make sure that everybody's clear, and what are your thoughts on that?
I think there should be room for everyone to self-identify. Boston House, AmeriCorps. And a big thing with data entry is individuals have different struggles. For example, one of the clients that I'm working with is
speak to us being black. The reason why I claim black is because it's powerful. It encompasses a variety of different ethnicities that fall within, whether you're from Ghana or you're from Jamaica or you're from Austin. And I think until we take back pride in black, and pride is one of the things that I wanted to use to address the last question so that we can move forward. Not because I like harboring on things, but I know that someone said that perhaps someone in the front row of this room was chastising our people. Our people hear me. Our people hear the other leaders in this room. it's easier for me to identify with black people and them to identify with me because we have a similar struggle. I can't hold anyone outside of the black community accountable because I have no control of that room. But I do have control of what I say to my sons, my daughters, my grandparents. I remember about 30 years ago, my grandmother said to me, I'm gonna get me a Jew lawyer because I know they'll win the case. Which hurt because I knew that I would never be Jew and I would never be a Jew lawyer. But I didn't think that I'd be incapable of winning. So the lack of pride that we have in our own community is why I address us. It's why I say we need to do better. I can't control that other room, but I can pull together a room of people that look like me and say, all right, it's time for us to step up because no one's going to do it for us. Hopefully that addresses the question.
I also identify as black. However, I think that the main issue here is not how you choose to identify yourself, but the issue of white privilege. I think a lot of us kind of don't realize how strong that privilege really is. I am definitely a statistical outlier. I'm a black female. I'm 23. I have a college degree already. I'm pursuing a master's degree. I am not pregnant. I do not have children. I am not on drugs. I also don't necessarily see myself in any type of devalued light because I am dark-skinned. I think a lot of times we as people, and this includes the entire human race, we try not to realize how strong race as a social construct really is. I think a lot of times when it comes right down to it, it is our duty as well as everyone else's to acknowledge the fact that white privilege is alive and well. It will continue to be alive and well, and we all need to take account of that. I think as a people, we need to hold ourselves accountable. It does not matter how you self-identify. All that matters to the rest of the world is that you're not white. That's the only thing. I can walk into
ancestry, you are more than just black. There are a lot of people here. I know specifically, I know I have Cherokee in my family, and it's official. I'm not just saying that because, you know, people got good hair. None of that matters. You know, it's about, do you really know your ancestry? And we also have to be aware, when a lot of, you know, when you see anyone of Hispanic descent, they get offended if you call them a Mexican and they're from Puerto Rico. They get offended if you call them this and they're actually Cuban. Because they are, you know, what they are is important. You know, we shouldn't just make up some name to call ourselves because we don't want to be called colored, a Negro, a nigga. I mean, like, because we made this name up. You know, because none of us, well, some of us may be, but if you're not directly from Africa, you're not an African citizen. You are American. You have been here. You may have African descent from way on down the line, but that's not what you are. You know, and I think, and it goes back to black identity. You want to know, and you want to know for sure what I am, and no one can tell you that. And then you go to school, and no one teaches you about where you come from. And so my question would be, well, okay, if we're not African and we really kind of want to run away from being American, but we here, so I guess we can be, you know, I'm an American citizen, I can say that, but we're not getting the same rights as other privileged Americans are, then it's like, well, what are we? You know, you're lost. You don't know what to call yourself. You don't know what history to abide by, so you pick one. And all of a sudden, you're going to pick, oh, I'm African. And we pick up the Ankh, and then we be focused on the Egyptians. And if we don't know nothing else about black history, oh, well, we was royalty. From where? Africa is a whole continent. It is not one country. It's plenty of countries in there. From where? You know, like, and we make this up because we want to empower ourselves to be strong. So that's the least what we tell our children. And then they get stuck in the Black Power movement, and all of a sudden they racist and don't want nothing to do with white people. And that's when they get stuck. It's us against them. Everything is a race issue. And then but what else? Are we gonna move on? You know, are we gonna take something else? Are we gonna continue to foster our communities and do something better? Or is this every single issue is gonna be a race issue? Because everyone's just laughing at us because all we do is talk and no action's being done.
All right.
So being from, actually my old house is 2 streets down from here on East 12th Street, and just being Black is not enough for me. I am American, I am West Indian, I proudly claim Trinidad and Tobago. That's where my mother took me out of to bring me here for a better opportunity. So I don't think that we should allow a color or a nationality to define us. I believe you define who you are. You define who you are, and you don't allow a piece of paper or an application to do that, because that's where most of these segregated origins are coming from. It's from applications and filling out paperwork and trying to get your license and becoming a statistic, because that's why they have that. They want to know where you live. They want to know what color you are. They want to know where you're from, what's your African American background. I know myself, I got in trouble in elementary because I used to fill in all the bubbles. I was white, I was Indian, I was Black, I was all of it, because that's what I believe I am. I believe we all share a very similar heritage. America is a melting pot. We don't know who we are until we check Ancestry.com in these days. So I believe the African American versus Black situation, it's just insignificant, and it doesn't define who you are.
All right, we've answered questions from the cards, we've answered questions from Twitter, but my man here has been waiting patiently. So I want to make sure to give him a chance to answer his question. So hold on a second.
Well, I'm gonna label myself, I'm a Negro. From the east side of Austin. Born and raised. Born and raised on the east side. I read that article this morning in the Austin American Statesman. I've been gone 20 years. My cousin is Rodney Reed, the one that actually got vindicated yesterday to a certain extent where he can get his trial at least re-looked at. My last name is Reed. And I read that article on side of my cousin's article. It was both on the front page. But you know which one was more significant than the other? It was the one on the front headline that said Austin is #1 with the disparity of Negroes. You can call them Black, you can call them African American, or what's he say, Indian. Call it what you want to call it. But there's only one way they look at you in Austin, as a Negro. Believe that. I read that article. And you know what? It hurt me. It hurt me to know that I've been on this side of town all my life, and I go and see my friends, and they still stuck. They don't have a UT degree. They didn't have the advantage to say a Jew might replace you. They've been disenfranchised forever. As long as I can remember. Oh, you're not a Negro. You're an Indian. That's the same thing the people want you to know when they wrote that article. I'm hurt. Really hurt. I don't know how y'all take it, but that article hurt me. It's saying that I ain't shit. It's saying that all these big people, Google, Apple, I remember IBM, they're ahead of me. And now that same divide This I-35 that's been dividing us all our life is separating us again. Nanny Franklin's. Or a dozen 12. Yeah, I went that other night. Nice place. Nice place. I'm not scared of the, what's the word, gentrification. It might be a good thing. Yeah, I said it. It might be a good thing. But where am I in this? Where are my people in this? I remember when this used to be crackheads and dope fiends. Do you see me? Now, do you see the help? Do you see me in that line at Franklin's? Or do you see me serving the meat? I say no, because I've been there. If you think this is funny, get the hell up out of here. If you think this is about being a UT grad, get the hell up out of here. If you think this is being an educated elite, get the hell up out of here. What you think? You weren't gonna run into a brother like me? You think I was lost? Let me speak. Let me speak. You think I was lost? I've been seeing y'all people all my life. I've been seeing you at the Union. You remember the Union, don't you? Some of y'all probably don't remember that, do you? All y'all educated people. But you know what? This is where the new Austin is headed. But if we don't build that bridge that these people been building, separated us all our life, how am I to look at you? Indian, African American. I'm a plagiarize myself what they've been calling me all my life, a nigger. Until that changed, that's what they've been calling me.
Can I ask you a question?
No. Not right now. Because I want to speak. Because I'm speaking. I want to speak. He can ask me questions when I get through. And like I said,
Sir, this is a forum for everyone.
I understand it's a forum. I understand that.
We appreciate your comment.
I understand that, but everybody else has the right to speak. Why can't I?
Sir, and we heard from you.
Okay, and I understand that. I'm under my 2 minutes. And like I said, thank you. And the rhetoric, because this is what this is simple rhetoric. And it can be action. You know what my action is? Because I've been hearing this from since I got in here. This is my solution. Outside of rhetoric, we need to put jobs back on the east side. We need to hold these people that's accountable on 360 in Mopac. We need to put jobs to the disenfranchised, which is my people. You can cut me all you want off. What you think, you weren't gonna see a nigga like me? You gonna be seeing me. I promise you. Thank you.
There is hurt in the black community. And that is something that, no matter how much we talk, we can't ignore. So I thank you for your comments. You went a little bit over, but that's the passion that exists in the community. And we have to remind ourselves that it's bigger than just us and just our lives.
Thank you. We'll do a few more questions and I'll go right.
Any more community questions? Anybody else in the community?
what are we gonna do? What is the one thing that we can move forward with today as a community to get us to the next level? We need to sign up.
I'd like to say something. I haven't said anything all night. I was waiting for that. I was hoping that was going to be a question on the card. I'm like, I agree with something the brother said over there. I worked in schools. I've worked in schools all on the east side. And I've seen a lot of different things happen in our schools. Not a lot of folks coming out to different situations to speak on behalf of our students on the east side, and plans coming up and been thrown all kind of ways and all kind of things are tried in our schools. And I would say the first thing we need to do is stop meeting to talk. And I think that's what the brother is saying back there is we've done a lot of talking. He's been here for a while, and if you've been here for a while, you've been here all your life, then you've seen all kinds of forums. You've seen all kind of state of Black America, state of this, and he's tired of talking. The brother's hurt. If you've been born and raised in Austin, and you probably hurt as well. It hurts me to see, to come to the east side and not see stuff that I used to see. It's just stated here, so many new buildings, and then to see Black faces in the buildings, and then, a month later, Black faces are gone. And, to be sold that it was going to be about revitalizing, building the Black community, and then, that's not the case now. It hurts me when I see, so many other things. I'm not going to get into that. First thing that needs to happen is if all of you all are serious about making some change, somebody get out a piece of paper, we sign up, and we come back, we start sitting down and we start talking about making some priorities. We still, everyone in here has said their own view about what the problem is. We don't have a common problem. We don't have a common view of what the problem is. Nobody in here mentioned education. And I work in it, and I see so many of the issues in the classrooms. I dealt with a situation today at school with a Black family, and it hurt me dearly to have to award a consequence to a Black male student for something that his parents have been modeling. So I think the first thing we do is we sit down and we just start, we sit down and we prioritize some things. We start talking about, okay, what are our morals and values? We used to be pretty common on one or two different religions. Now we kind of everything, no religion, all that kind of stuff. So we can't come together on a unified religion. Then we need to set up some values that we're going to live and operate on. The values are important because as a person, as an individual, you can't create moral purpose within a person until there's a common goal, common values, common beliefs. When you set those things up in that meeting, then you're able to go forth and start talking about what are we to do now? What do we value as a people? What do we value education? Do we value family? Right now, society tells us family can be anything you want, anything out there. That's not how we used to be. I'm not trying to get into different agendas, but I just want you to make sure you understand that that's not how Black people used to be. We did have a definition of family. So we need to come back and we need to start talking about what is education to us? What is family to us? Because those things were important. It's not important anymore. Community was important. So what is community now? What is it? Well, we need to go back and define these things for ourselves and then go out to start making these things happen. The talking, all that kind of stuff, I'm tired of as well. That's why I didn't do much talking. I was waiting for the question about what do we do next. Because I'm ready to do something. I don't live in Austin anymore because I can't afford it. As soon as I can sell my house and get back here, I will. Because I want to be a part of change. I want to be a part of this. This is why I always come back and try to do as much as I can in East Austin, because I was born and raised here, and it hurt me to not be able to keep my grandmother's house and to be able to live in it because the taxes had tripled in a week, and we couldn't afford to pay for that. So, sign-up sheet. Who got some paper? Nobody has paper? I don't need a clap. I need some paper.
What time do you have? Give me 15 minutes. Hey, Damien, give me 15 minutes more of your time. As an organizer, I'm not going to apologize for that. I think that's kind of what we needed, because I think that very much. This is the end of the program, by the way. If you look at the piece of paper I have, I was going to address the state of Black Austin. And I think, excuse me. I think that brother brought up a very good example of what it looked like. I tell people all the time at UT, I think we as black people have this problem that I like to call the don't look back complex. It's like people, that brother is a prime example of how many of us look at one another. Like, he just literally spilled it all out. Like, he looks at us educated Negroes, us talented tent, as people that got the piece of this American pie, a very small piece, if we being real, and never went back to the ant pile to bring some back to the ant pile. That's why the ant is my favorite insect, bug, whatever you want to call it, because when ants leave, and I read about them all day, like 2 weeks ago, they leave the ant pile, I'm being serious, they leave the ant pile, they go find food. If it's not enough of them to break down this carcass that they find, what they do is, with their antennas, they leave a trail for other people to find it. Like, they're so smart in how they communicate and look out for one another. Like, this is what they do. We as black people, in Austin in particular, like, we get into these, like he said, Google, the UTs or whatever, and we never look back. We don't come back to East Austin. We don't eat at Victory Grill. We don't eat at 11th Street Station when it was there. That's why it's gone. We barely eat at Midtown. We barely eat at Rollins. We don't support one another. That's why. And then we have the audacity to say, well, I think you kind of gave way to this. Like, the ghetto and the hood only looks like that because we don't go back and build it up. Like, white people, what they call it is gentrification. Like, that's what they do. They took this whole 12th Street and 11th Street, and you see what they doing to it. Because we don't do that. Like, we want so bad to be like them. If we're going to be honest, this Black History Month, that's what we want to do. Period. Like, we move to Westlake, we move to 360, we move wherever they are, because that's what success has been defined in this country. Success is doing for yourself and people that look like you and people that are surrounded by you. I'm a party promoter, and I'm a party promoter for a reason, because outside of me, DJ Hella Yella, and a few other people, you can't go downtown and party to your own music. They'll play 2 songs for you, then they playing Britney Spears. So even with that, like, that's a political thing. The Austin Socialite, we create spaces for black people in Austin, because we don't have many. And the many that we have, like, we just don't support. So that's, if y'all want to talk about solutions, if you have pen and paper, here's some things you can write down. As I see nobody writing, right? So, like, these are things we can do. Number 1, come back and get your hands dirty on the east side. Go mentor at LBJ. Make some noise about LBJ, because like he said, I don't know why we're not talking about LBJ. It's literally 2 different schools in one. And at the bottom is us, at the top, you know who they are. And it's not even just about race at LBJ. It's about class. They have the rich and privileged at the top. They have the poor and disenfranchised at the bottom. But we never make enough noise about that. That's one thing we can do. We can get involved in the political process. With that, we can shake the table on that. Mentorship programs. I know Charlotte has some ideas coming up. Mentor these kids. Yeah. That's how you. I read an article today, especially about millennials. Like, we have the success, but we don't need your. We don't need your success. We want your presence. Jairus can attest to this. He used to get mad at me when I was in the X-Lounge at UT. Like, how dare you get this degree, get this resource, get this ample opportunity, and sit there and say, oh, I'm gonna be a role model. How in the hell are you a role model in your Google office off of Mopac? That's not where the black kids are. You be a role model like Bill Cosby the character, not the one that's in, you know. Bill Cosby the character. Bill Cosby stayed in the hood. That's how you be a role model. That's how you be a feasible, tangible thing for people to see. Chad. Come back to East Austin. No. This is the it.
No, I'm not.
No. This is the address. Then we're gonna get out of here, and then we're gonna break down and let people talk. Because, like I said, 8:30.
No, I just wanted to have you tell people, like, a way for them to get involved.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Boys and YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Youth Unlimited, Big Brother Big Sister, the African American Harvest Foundation. Like, it's so many things that we can do for kids in this city. It's all kind of stuff they have at UT. Somebody from UT, give me
100 Black Men of Austin.
100 Black Men of Austin. So I hope you write these down. I see nobody writing. Or just this East Avenue Project. So that's one thing, right? Like that's one thing. Mentorship is the biggest thing that we can do in Austin. Number two, like I said, like we really have to. I'm over being angry. I'm over being angry. Like, am I saying be optimistic and be blinded by false happiness? No. Like, I'm over being angry for no reason. Like, take that anger, take all this stuff and some of these emotions that were displayed tonight that would all over the place. Like, let's take that and do something with it. Like he said, man, like a lot of people think this is so outside the box. How about we actually start a pool with somebody that we trust, and it has to be transparent. Like, how about we start a pool of money to where, hey, like we can pull from this and actually start building stuff. Like, that's another good idea. Like what? Hold on, Rich, disrespecting while I'm talking. Like why can't we? Like, I don't understand. Like the problem with black people in this country is it's so multifaceted, right? Like, we have to get creative if we're gonna get out of this hole. Like, it's not gonna work through the same thinking and the same things we've been trying, because it is a complete different time. Like, we can't even agree if we're black or not. You know, so I'm being honest. And I think that speaks volumes to where we are. We are broken and hurt people. Like, if this was my actual State of the Union, would I sit there and say Austin is sad and we're not looking, it's not looking bright? No, my honest opinion is, you know, when they did this in Houston, my friend Darrell Douglas said the state of Black Houston is we're strong. I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you tonight about Black Austin. We're not strong, nor are we weak. I think we're willing, and that's all that matters. We're willing, and some of us are hopeful, and I will take that hopeful few and I will begin to relay the foundation in Austin. I'll do that with whoever's willing to work with me. I promise you I will. If you want to be angry, if you want to be sad and kick rocks, you can go do that somewhere else. So tonight, when I get through with this, I'm going to go right back there and play some music. And if you want to build with me, and people like Charlotte and Terry and Patton and Damon, come talk to me. Like, all this pointing fingers and stuff, we have to stop doing that. So I will say, we are not strong, nor are we weak. We're willing. We are willing. And for those of you who are willing, let me see your hand to help Black America. Over on the other side of the bridge, they have a little saying that said, what starts here changes the world. How about we take that outside of the 40 acres and apply that to our Black community here? We're the most powerful people on this planet. Yeah. We are. That is the truth. That is the truth. We are the most powerful people on this planet. We have literally built and laid the foundation for everything that you see. UT ain't UT by itself. If you know your history, they would.
HT was first.
No, it's not. I'm not even talking. I'm talking about before that, brother. Like the people from England and Europe were going to ancient Egypt, learning how we were doing stuff. We had the first education system. We had the first judicial system. We had everything set up. The world literally came from all over to see how we were doing stuff, and they set up shop. You are the most powerful person. And the thing that scares us is that we are so powerful. Yeah. That's the truth. That's why we treat each other like this, because we're scared of one another. Powerful beyond measure. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I want all the panelists, like, when you get off, like this, I want everybody to talk to somebody tonight and talk about solutions. No more angry talk. No more none of that. Let's talk about solutions. I'm not the end all be all. I'm not the hero. You're the hero. Everybody in here tonight is the hero. So when I get through and I put this mic down, I want everybody to connect with somebody. Get a phone number, get an email. How can we start tomorrow building up Black Austin? How can we be the blueprint for every other city? And the only way we're going to do that is together. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. I hope I made some bit of sense. We're not taking any more questions. I want people to talk and connect right now. Al, my computer's right there. Just press play and cut the volume up a little bit. Please talk to somebody.
I'll be 1 minute. First of all, I'm from UT. I'm Black. It's not my fault what they talk about. I don't have a place to leave UT and come over here and build a bridge.